All right, DJI Osmo Action 6 versus DJI Pocket 3. When it comes to the overall image quality, I'm going to do a couple of comparisons today to show you roughly which one produces better results. I can kind of see that the Action 6 produces a much brighter image than the Pocket 3, but maybe while editing, it's going to look better on the Pocket 3. And by the way, I'm not really going to do any color grading. Just going to do basic color correction like exposure, white balance. Let's stress test the dynamic range performance a bit. The Pocket 3 definitely looks darker. Also, you can kind of see the lens flares performance on both of these cameras. Let's do skin tone comparison. You kind of see which one produces better skin tones. I really like the skin tone colors on the new Action 6, honestly, but with color grading, you can kind of make it look almost the same. The Action 6 definitely looks significantly darker than the Pocket 3. I kind of like how it looks on the screen at least. Much more natural looking, and also the sky behind me here looks pretty good as well, while keeping my face bright at the same time. This is our driver, by the way. Can say hello to YouTube. It's pretty steep in here. Nothing I cannot handle. It's beautiful here. That's basically the Thai and Lao border. It's the Mekong River in here. Wow, looks incredible. I am out of breath, for sure, struggling. Now, of course, one major advantage of the Pocket 3 is that it has autofocus. Basically, it means if you're going to bring the camera closer, you're going to still remain sharp, and the camera is basically going to switch the focus for you. Whereas on the Action 6, it is fixed. And even though now the minimum focus distance is shorter at 20 centimeters, I found the image to be slightly softer than the Action 5 Pro, which has a longer minimum focus distance, basically. So you can kind of see that my face is sharper with the Pocket 3 compared to the Action 6. I'm sure there's like a night and day difference between the detail and overall sharpness, which is a major benefit of using the Pocket 3 compared to pretty much any action camera out there, until someone will release like an autofocus feature basically on their action camera. All right, let's do an unscientific dynamic range comparison, if you will. I've set both cameras to their base ISO. This one is set to 100, the Pocket 3 is set to 50, and I've manually adjusted the exposure with the shutter speed, basically, until I saw myself properly exposed, more or less. So let's see which one has more dynamic range, although this is, again, not a scientific comparison, but it should give you like a rough idea which camera performs better. From what I could see on the screen, it looks more or less the same, honestly, but hopefully you can see the difference. Okay, here is another comparison for you. Again, I've manually adjusted the exposure for myself with the shutter speed, but I've set the ISO to the base ISOs of these cameras. Here is another comparison with manual exposure settings with the base ISOs of these cameras. Honestly, it looks almost the same to me on the screen at least, but the colors look slightly different on the Action 6. It looks more neutral on the Pocket 3, and it looks more saturated on the Action 6. Also, slightly warmer on the Action 6 at the same time. All right, now a very important factor to consider is that if you want to use ND filters with your action camera, like I'm doing right now, and then if you want to set the shutter speed to double the frame rate to get the natural motion blur effect, you might introduce stabilization artifacts, because any action camera out there relies on high shutter speeds for the best stabilization performance, because that's how digital stabilization basically works. Whereas on the Pocket 3, you don't really need to care about this stuff because it's a mechanical gimbal basically. So you can probably see right now that the footage on the Pocket 3 is significantly steadier than the Action 6. I've set both of these cameras to 1/50 of a shutter. Like I said, because of this, you might see some wobbles, especially like in the corners of the frame. And of course, the more aggressive the movement, the more shake you will introduce into the footage with the Action 6. All right, that's the viewpoint.
Oh, good.
Tired?
Yeah. Good.
The driver likes it. Yeah, it's awesome here, huh? Beautiful. Very beautiful. All right, here is a quick summary of what I think about the image quality of these cameras. The Action 6 is definitely brighter, which is sometimes better in contrast these scenes, especially if you want to make your face look brighter. It looks a bit more pleasing sometimes with the Action 6 compared to the Pocket 3. But then the colors look way better in my opinion on the Pocket 3 because they are more neutral and skin tones look a bit cleaner, and it is much easier to manipulate in post-production in my personal opinion. The sun stars are awesome on the Action 6. That's probably my favorite feature on the Action 6, honestly. It's creative, really, but I think it looks fantastic. But then the Pocket 3 is significantly sharper if you're going to use it for vlogging because it has autofocus, and when you put the Action 6 closer to you, you're going to see that it becomes softer. Even when shooting at f4, which produces a minimum focus distance of 20 centimeters, it is still not as sharp as the Pocket 3. So if you want something with more detail and sharpness, the Pocket 3 is definitely better. And also, if you want to control the focus and get creative with your focus, it is going to be much better with the Pocket 3. Or if you want to get some depth of field with the Pocket 3, it is going to be much more practical. As you saw probably on some of the shots, the background was blurry on the Pocket 3, a little bit, not like on a full frame camera, for example, but a little bit. And on the Action 6, everything was sharp in the background and also on my face at the same time, which might be good for you. But if you want to get more creative, the autofocus feature on the Pocket 3 is definitely, you know, better basically. And then of course, low light performance. I haven't really tested the low light performance between these cameras, but I'm 90% certain the Pocket 3 is going to be significantly better because it has a bigger sensor. Also, the pixels are bigger because it uses a lower megapixel count sensor compared to the Action 6. So if you want something for low light shooting, the Pocket 3 is definitely going to be better. Next, stabilization. You can't really ignore this, especially if you want to use ND filters to get, you know, the cinematic motion blur in your videos. And last thing I want to touch about is tracking. So if you want to position the camera on a tripod and basically move around the frame and then have the camera basically follow you around, the Pocket 3 can do it much better because it's a rotatable gimbal, so you can follow you around without any issues. And with the Action 6, you can have some tracking, but it's limited. You can have D-Log-M. It's also only up to 2.7K, and the camera cannot physically move around. It will crop, right? And then it will get like a square around you, basically. It looks nice in a pinch, but the Pocket 3 is going to be much better in this regard. Long story short, the image quality is definitely better on the Pocket 3. And if you're someone like myself who values image quality above everything else, I would definitely pick the Pocket 3. But if you need something with better build quality, something more rugged, the Action 6 is going to be significantly better. So hopefully this video helped you a little bit. If you have any questions, tips, or comments, let me know down below. And I guess I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.